grace. Part B, you don't want any bitter root growing up in you that will defile you. The book of Revelation speaks about those who have their linen pure and clean and have not been defiled. So, we need to be safeguarded. We need to be aware and cautious of bitter roots growing up and trying to defile us, which grows up in our midst. I mean, a bitter root. He's giving you an allegorical statement comparing you to a garden, comparing you and I to like a garden, and things that grow up in us, in our spirit, in our mind, our soul can be bitter, which if we have a bitter root growing up in us, it will defile us. It will dirty us and soil us. And this new garment of salvation that we receive becomes dirty and soiled. And we know that if our garment is dirty and is soiled, then we will be rejected from the wedding lamb. We will be rejected from the marriage supper. We will be the one that Jesus approaches and says, "Excuse me, how did you get in here, my friend?" And that guy was, and that person was picked up by the angels and thrown out. I want to continue. See that no one is sexually immoral or is godless like Esau. So we don't, the sexual sins, the inability to contain yourself and preserve yourself for marriage, that can be another disqualification for the grace of God. That can disqualify you. Doing sexual acts that are not permitted. God has ordained certain sexual acts, and there are things that do defile the bed. We can't just make these blanket statements and say the bed is not defiled. Well, I mean, we do know that there's certain sexual intercourses that are not normal, such as oral sex. That's not normal. That's what animals do. Now, we're in an oral sex culture, but we need to be delivered from that. We need to be delivered from that because it's perverted, it's warped, and it's going to warp your mind and warp your thinking as you continue to engage in it. So that's something that we should just cease and desist. You can love your mate, but you don't have to engage in the oral sex aspect of it. I mean, there's so much other things that you can do. First of all, love making is more intimate. It doesn't have to get all freaky and perverted. Am I right? Let me continue. Then he brings up a character in the Bible named Esau. He says, or is godless like Esau. When he wanted to inherit this blessing, he was rejected. He could bring about no change of mind, though he sought the blessing with tears. Now, if you're not too familiar with Esau, Esau sold his birthright to Jacob for a pot of bowl of deer soup. Now, the intricacy of the background to the story is that Paul had spiritual insight to know that Esau was godless, meaning that Esau was like a humanist. He was secular. He was almost like an atheist. Esau really did not believe in the spiritual realm. Esau didn't believe in spiritual realities. All that spiritual junk, all that spiritual, stuff to Esau was irrelevant. He was a humanist. He was like today's society. He was like Obama. He was like United States of America. He was a secular humanist, meaning that Esau didn't really have any concern for the spiritual realm. He didn't believe in the spiritual realm. He thought it was a bunch of hocus pocus talk. And his mind was more focused on the here and now. He was more focused on the agricultural aspects of life, of being a hard worker. Esau was a hard worker. He was a businessman. He was like a Forbes 500 businessman type guy. So when it came down to the actual pot of porridge and him being hungry over a little blessing that his dad was going to pronounce over him, Esau said, well, man, who cares? Man, just give me some soup. Just give me some soup. I'm hungry. Okay, yeah, you can have my blessing. Because he didn't really see any value in that. Esau had more confidence in his own ability to be a hunter, to be a gatherer, to be a businessman. So any type of abracadabra that that Isaac would have pronounced upon Esau didn't see any relevance in that. He just figured, man, that's just some abracadabra, ancient, religious type stuff. I'm a self-made man. So, as it says, Esau didn't see Esau didn't see the value in it. He didn't see any value in the spiritual blessing. So after he forsaked it for a bowl of soup, as Paul, through the Holy Spirit, was revealed that he felt sorrowful. It says he wanted to inherit his blessings, but he was rejected and he could bring no change of mind, and because he saw his blessing with tears. So, after you forsake what God offers to you, if you see, if you don't see any value in salvation, if you don't see the value in being delivered from the world, because that's salvation. Salvation is deliverance. If you don't see any value in being delivered from this world, having your afflictions reflected from the world, and now being placed upon heaven, having heaven open up to you, and for you to receive affection from heaven and heaven to you, which is the gift of reconciliation, which is the gift of salvation, because the damnation has now been lifted. And now God is freely able to shine and to emanate his love and his affection from on high towards you, to carry you, to cocoon you, and to be your all-sustaining source. See, if you're still focused on receiving affection from this realm and from the world, then you don't see any value in receiving the affection and receiving the love and receiving the nourishment and the sustenance that comes from on high. So, in order to receive one or the other, you have to cut off, disconnect, and disavow yourself to the world before God will sustain you, cherish you, nourish you with his love, lift you up, and give you all the necessary life and essentials and amino acids and vitamins and everything you receive in the natural realm. You must make a decision to cut yourself off from this wicked, evil present world. This is how God proceeds forward before he gives you. So if you become like an Esau, and like Paul is trying to point out, if you become like an Esau and you pretty much devalue the gift of God, if you have a low opinion of being in the household of in heaven, if becoming a kingdom citizen, of receiving direct from God, then you're going to forsake it. You're going to forsake your salvation. You're going to forsake it for the pot of soup. What is the pot of soup? The pot of soup is the world. The pot of soup is sex. The pot of soup is money. The pot of soup is worldly accolades. The pot of soup is everybody thinking you're cool. Everybody thinking you're hot. The pot of soup is your friends and your coworkers and the respect and the esteem. The pot of soup is your sorrow and all of your Delta Phi Delta friends and your Masons and your all of that stuff is here. That's your pot of soup. So Satan offers it to you, and he goes, look, I know Jesus died on the cross to give you salvation, to reconcile you to God, to bring you back into the household of the Lord, to bring you back into the Father's arm. But look at all this other stuff I have to offer you. Now, you want this tangible or this pie in the sky heaven? So I'm going to cap this off right here. I believe I went a little too long, but the Holy Spirit was just moving. And I just want to end this off by saying that if God is for us, no demon or hell or anything. If God actually positioned himself to be for you, yes, nothing can be against you except you. God is taking initiative. He's positioned himself in your favor to back you up. Now you become the hindrance. You can only be the hindrance. And you must remain you. You must die to you. You must die to you, die to self, die to everything. You must freely give up all and fall under and flow with the wind. Fall under the influence of God Most High. Father, bless these holy words.